Lots of topics are going around with Roman Reigns, so we'll see what's going on there. We'll also check out what the latest is with Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, and much more. Let's start things off with Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus' name has been all over the headlines in recent weeks due to the buzz surrounding her potential return to WWE. There was a big report going around during the build-up to the February 20th edition of Monday Night Raw that Trish Stratus was backstage and would be making her return during Bayley's Ding Dong Hello show with Damage Control. But that segment came and went, and there was no signs of Trish Stratus anywhere. So that's when reports claimed that Trish Stratus was not on the show due to creative disagreements, and some fans wondered if Trish wasn't returning after all. But then, 1 week later, Trish Stratus made her return during the February 27th edition of Raw to help balance out the numbers game for Becky Lynch and Lita against Damage Control. Trish's help would eventually pay off and lead towards Becky Lynch and Lita securing the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. It's Becky Lynch's first time holding the Women's Tag Team titles, and it's Lita's first overall WWE title in over 17 years. And of course, Trish Stratus was there as well, making this one of the biggest moments in the history of the Women's Tag Team titles. So now that Becky Lynch and Lita are Tag Team Champions and will continue to defend those titles in the coming weeks, where does this really leave Trish Stratus at? Well, reports claim that Trish Stratus' return was not a one-night-only appearance. Trish is scheduled for the March 6th edition of Raw and could potentially be setting up to appear on a few future shows after that. So it's starting to sound like Trish may have a big role on WWE television in the coming weeks. There's a high chance that Becky Lynch and Lita walk into WrestleMania as tag team champions. So what could really happen there with them? Some fans wonder if maybe we could see Damage Control versus Becky, Lita, and Trish in a 3-on-3 match, whether it's on an upcoming edition of Raw or WrestleMania itself. That 3-on-3 match definitely seems like it has a good chance of happening. Then you have other possibilities such as a rematch between Becky Lynch and Lita taking on Damage Control at WrestleMania. Maybe Bayley could even have a one-on-one match with Trish Stratus at WrestleMania. If Damage Control is facing Becky and Lita and Bayley is facing Trish, that basically gives everyone a nice WrestleMania role there. Trish Stratus last competed at SummerSlam 2019 against Charlotte Flair, and she was very vocal that it was her retirement match and she wasn't coming back. But now it looks like Trish Stratus could get back in the ring sometime between now and WrestleMania itself. And whatever Trish ends up doing over there in the next few weeks, it seems like Bayley and Damage Control will be involved. She was originally supposed to return and interrupt Damage Control's talk show segment, and then she actually returns to pretty much cost Damage Control the tag team titles. So whatever story or match that could be cooking up there is definitely between Trish Stratus and Damage Control. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there with not only Trish Stratus, but Lita and Becky Lynch as well. Will they defend their tag team titles against Damage Control at WrestleMania? Or could it really be against a team like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler? Ronda was making some noise on Twitter about how Damage Control basically never defends their titles, nor do they appear on SmackDown. So could that be a little seed being planted right there that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler truly are eyeing the tag team titles? The women's tag team titles do give the champions a pass to appear on both shows. So if Lita and Becky appear on SmackDown in the coming weeks, maybe we could see the start of that feud, if they do go in that direction. Roman Reigns' Universal title reign is the longest WWE World title reign of the modern era by far. None of the all-time greats from over the last few decades have even come close to having that historic reign that Roman Reigns is currently having. Roman is currently well over 800 days as champion right now, and by the time WrestleMania 39 comes around, Roman will be right around just 50 days away from making 1,000 days as champion. So with that being on the line, this has fans really split on if Roman Reigns will either lose the title to Cody Rhodes or successfully defend the title. Some fans are talking about how this is something special, how we may never see another title reign again like this in WWE, how Roman would only be 50 days away from making 1,000 days as champion. So, how could you end his title reign with him being so close to 1,000 days? He's been champion for nearly 3 years, so what's another 50 days after WrestleMania just for him to crack that big milestone of 1,000 days as champion? That's sort of the same thing that fans are saying, and they do have a good point. Some fans have also brought out the argument that Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns is just too expected at this point. A large majority of fans expect Cody Rhodes to win because that's what the writing on the wall really says. So some fans have discussed the idea that if WWE truly wants to shock the audience, then you have Roman Reigns actually successfully defend the title against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. By simply having Roman defend against Cody at WrestleMania, everyone's mind would be blown because everyone was 100% expecting Roman Reigns to lose. It's sort of like the scenario that played out at Clash at the Castle. Drew McIntyre was getting video packages about his life and journey in WWE so far. He was a hometown hero. It was the first special event there in decades. He came out to his old theme song. There was just so many things that made you believe that Drew McIntyre had a strong chance of defeating Roman Reigns. But in the end, Roman still won. So could that be a similar route here for WrestleMania 39? Everyone expects Cody Rhodes to finally be the one to defeat Roman Reigns. So what if Roman still finds a way around him? Some fans have also argued that it could also be a great story for Cody Rhodes if his story includes that big loss at WrestleMania 39 to Roman Reigns. Could that loss potentially get the fans behind him even more and build even more hype for maybe a rematch at Backlash or later down the road? So then, the rematch could happen in late spring or summer. Roman surpasses 1,000 days and Cody Rhodes climbs his way all the way back up to be the #1 contender. Now things would get really interesting there. There's also obviously the rumblings about the bloodline falling apart. Even if Roman Reigns is able to survive and retain against Cody Rhodes, what happens if the Usos lose their tag team titles to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? You just know that Roman Reigns won't be so pleasant under those circumstances. Despite him still being champion himself, he'll still be irate over the Usos embarrassing the family name. And if Roman and the Usos drop all their titles within 48 hours from each other, one can only imagine that Roman will be completely off the rails in that scenario. There's also some rumors and fan theories about Paul Heyman possibly being on the list of names to keep an eye on during the fall of the bloodline. Roman Reigns did fire Paul Heyman back in the early days of the feud with Brock Lesnar because the entire bloodline was suspicious of Heyman, but Heyman eventually proved his loyalty to Roman Reigns by turning on Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble 2022. So Paul Heyman never really had the chance to fully turn on Roman Reigns since Roman acted early and fired him first. But what if Paul Heyman legitimately turned on Roman Reigns during the fall of the bloodline? That could make things really interesting. Just imagine if Roman loses control of the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Heyman turns on him as well. It'll just be this disastrous situation for Roman Reigns all around. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.